The frost-covered cobblestones of Thessara's lower district sparkled like broken glass under the pale morning sun. King Theron Valdris stood at the edge of the crowd, his royal guard forming a subtle perimeter around him as he observed the weekly distribution of grain from the palace stores. He shouldn't have been here, his advisors had warned him against venturing into the Omega quarters, but something had drawn him to witness this himself. "Your Majesty," Captain Lysander murmured beside him, "perhaps we should return to—" A small commotion near the distribution table cut him off. A tiny figure, no more than 9 years old, was being roughly pushed away by one of the district guards. "Back of the line, runt!" the guard snarled. "Registered citizens only." The child, a girl with matted silver hair that caught the light strangely, stumbled backward but didn't fall. She clutched an empty bowl to her chest, her thin frame swimming in a tattered cloak several sizes too large. "Please." Her voice carried despite its smallness. "I've been waiting since before dawn. Just a handful of grain. I promise I won't come back for a week." "You're not on the registry," the guard said coldly. "No papers, no food. That's the law." Theron found himself stepping forward before he could think better of it. Something about the child pulled at him, a sensation like a string being tugged behind his ribs. As he moved closer, he caught her scent on the wind, wildflowers and rain, barely there beneath the grime, and his alpha instincts stirred unexpectedly. The crowd parted instantly, recognizing him despite his simple traveling cloak. Whispers rippled outward like waves. "The Alpha King. Why is he here? In the Omega District?" The little girl turned at the commotion, and Theron's breath caught. Her eyes were extraordinary, violet with flecks of gold, eerily similar to what he saw in his own mirror each morning. But that was impossible. Many in the kingdom shared the Valdris coloring. "What's your name, child?" he asked, keeping his voice gentle despite the strange urgency building in his chest. She lifted her chin with surprising dignity for one so small and clearly starving. "Kaya, Your Majesty." "Kaya what? Your family name?" "Just Kaya." Her small fingers tightened on the bowl. "I don't have a family name, don't have a family." The guard interrupted. "She's one of the border orphans, Your Majesty. They drift in from the Deadlands, looking for scraps. We're not supposed to—" "She's hungry." Theron cut him off, his alpha authority bleeding into his tone. The guard immediately submitted, neck baring slightly. Theron reached into his coat and pulled out his personal seal, a silver wolf bearing the crown of Thessara. He pressed it into the child's small palm. "Take this to the distribution table. They'll give you what you need." Kaya stared at the seal as if it might disappear. Then she looked up at him with those haunting eyes, and for a moment, Theron could have sworn he felt something pass between them, a recognition his conscious mind couldn't grasp. "Why?" she whispered. He didn't have an answer that made sense. "Because no child should starve in the shadow of the palace." She studied him with an intensity that seemed beyond her years. Then she did something unexpected. She tried to give the seal back. "I can't take this," she said. "It's too valuable. Someone will hurt me for it." The resignation in her young voice, the matter-of-fact way she spoke of violence, made something dark and protective surge in Theron's chest. His alpha nature roared to life, demanding he protect this pup. "Then I'll walk you to the table myself," he heard himself say. Captain Lysander made a sound of protest. The crowd gasped. An Alpha King personally escorting an Omega orphan? It was unheard of. But Theron was already placing his hand on the child's shoulder, and the moment he made contact, the world tilted. Power, raw, ancient, and familiar, sparked between them like lightning seeking ground. Kaya gasped, her distinctive eyes going wide, and Theron jerked his hand back. "Your Majesty!" Lysander stepped forward, concerned. "It's nothing. Theron said quickly, though his mind raced. What was that? What was this child? But Kaya was already backing away, fear replacing the dignity in her small face. She turned and ran, disappearing into the crowd before anyone could stop her, leaving only her empty bowl behind on the frost-covered cobblestones. 3 days had passed since the incident at the grain distribution, and Theron couldn't stop thinking about the Omega child. He'd sent guards to search the lower district, but she'd vanished like smoke. The rational part of his mind said to let it go. One orphan among thousands, but his alpha instincts wouldn't settle. He stood in his private study, staring at the empty bowl she'd left behind. He'd kept it, though he couldn't explain why. Your Majesty, Counselor Nikos entered with a bow. The weekly orphanage report you requested. Theron had never requested such reports before this week. Anything about a silver-haired girl named Kaya? No, sire. But Nikos hesitated. There is something else. Several Omega children have gone missing from the border regions. The pattern suggests they're being taken, not running away. Taken? Theron's voice dropped dangerously. By whom? We're not certain. But there are rumors of someone conducting experiments on young Omegas with unusual characteristics. The image of Kaya's remarkable gaze flashed in Theron's mind. What kind of characteristics? Children who display early signs of power. It's rare, but sometimes Omega children manifest abilities that shouldn't emerge until their first transformation at 16. A memory stirred, the spark of power when he'd touched Kaya's shoulder. Theron's jaw clenched. Double the palace guard patrols in the lower district. I want. A commotion in the courtyard cut him off. Through the window, he saw palace guards dragging someone small toward the punishment posts. His blood turned to ice when silver hair caught the sunlight. Theron was moving before his mind caught up, taking the stairs 3 at a time. He burst into the courtyard just as they were binding Kaya's thin wrists to the post. Stop! His command carried such force that every person in the courtyard dropped to their knees in submission, except Kaya, who stood trembling but upright. Your Majesty, the guard captain stammered. She was caught stealing from the palace kitchens. The law requires... Release her. Now. But sire, she's a repeat offender. This is her third. Did I stutter? Power radiated from Theron in waves. They cut her bonds immediately. Kaya swayed on her feet, and Theron caught her before she could fall. Again, that spark of power, stronger this time. She made a small sound of pain. You're burning, he realized, feeling the fever through her ragged clothes. Always am, after. She trailed off, eyes going unfocused. After what? But she'd gone limp in his arms, unconscious. This close, he could smell sickness on her. But underneath it, that scent of wildflowers and rain was stronger. Familiar in a way that made no sense. Fetch healer Amara, he ordered, lifting the child easily. She weighed almost nothing. Now. He carried her to the guest wing himself, ignoring the shocked whispers of courtiers. As he laid her on the bed, her small hand clutched his sleeve. Please, she mumbled in her fever dreams, please don't let them take me back to the bad place. I'll be good. I promise I'll be good. Something cracked in Theron's chest. No one's taking you anywhere, he promised. Healer Amara arrived, her ancient face creased with concern. She examined Kaya quickly, efficiently, then froze. Her eyes snapped to Theron. Your Majesty, this child. What? What's wrong with her? She's been suppressing her transformation. Someone's been giving her wolfsbane, diluted, but regular doses. It's killing her slowly. Wolfsbane? Rage built in Theron's chest. Someone's been poisoning her? To hide what she is, Amara said carefully. Your Majesty, this child isn't just an Omega. She has alpha blood, powerful alpha blood, the kind that only comes from... She trailed off, staring at him. From what? But even as he asked, pieces were clicking together. The familiar scent, the unusual eyes, the spark of recognition between them. From the royal line, Amara whispered. This child carries Valdris blood. The world stopped. It was impossible. The only Valdris alpha blood came from him and his brother, his dead brother Marcus, who'd been killed in the border wars 9 years ago, who'd had a secret Omega mate he'd hidden from the family, who'd died before he could tell anyone about. Dear gods, Theron breathed, staring at the unconscious child. His brother's distinctive silver hair, his own family's violet gold eyes. She's Marcus's daughter. She's my niece. But before Amara could respond, Kaya's body began to convulse. Black veins spread across her skin like poison. The wolfsbane is fighting her alpha blood, Amara said urgently. She's going into rejection. If we can't stabilize her, save her, Theron commanded, his voice breaking. Whatever it takes, save her. Because now he understood why his alpha had recognized her from the start. She wasn't just some orphan. She was family. She was pack. She was the heir his brother had died protecting. The convulsions wouldn't stop. Kaya's small body arched off the bed as black veins spread like spiderwebs across her skin. Theron held her shoulders, trying to keep her still while healer Amara worked frantically with her medicines. It's not working, Amara said, sweat beading her forehead. The wolfsbane has been in her system too long. Her alpha blood is rejecting it violently, but her omega nature can't fully manifest either. She's caught between. There must be something? There is. Amara met his eyes gravely. But you won't like it. Tell me. An alpha of her bloodline could share their strength through a temporary pack bond. It would give her system enough power to fight the poison, but the bond would mark her as mine to protect, Theron finished. It was an ancient right, rarely used now. To claim a pup as pack was to declare them under your absolute protection. Do it. Your Majesty, the court will have questions. A pack bond with an unknown Omega child. She's not unknown. The words tore from him with surprising force. She's Marcus's daughter. My blood. My pack. Amara's eyes widened. You're certain? Look at her, Theron said softly. Really look. The healer studied Kaya's features, the distinctive silver hair, the bone structure that, beneath the grime and malnourishment, was pure Valdris. By the ancient spirits, she breathed. How did we not see it? Someone's been hiding her, poisoning her to suppress her alpha traits. Rage built in his chest again. But why? Who would... Kaya screamed, her body temperature spiking dangerously. Now, Your Majesty, Amara urged. If you're going to do this, it must be now. Theron didn't hesitate. He bit into his own wrist, letting his alpha blood well up, then pressed it to Kaya's lips. Drink, little one. Let me help you. For a moment, nothing happened. Then Kaya's throat worked, swallowing. The effect was immediate. The black veins began to recede, her breathing steadied, and color returned to her cheeks. But as the pack bond formed, Theron was hit with a rush of the child's memories, running through dark streets, always hungry, always afraid. A woman with gentle hands, her mother dying of sickness, whispering, "Find your father's people. The silver wolf will know you." Men in dark robes, forcing bitter medicine down her throat. This will keep you safe, they lied. This will keep you hidden. Theron gasped, pulling back. Kaya's eyes had opened, still fever-bright but aware. You saw, she whispered. Who did this to you? Who's been giving you wolfsbane? The orphanage masters. They said, they said if anyone knew what I was, I'd be killed like my father. Your father, Marcus. He wasn't killed by enemies, Theron said urgently. Who told you that? Master Cyrus at the orphanage. He said father was murdered for mating with an Omega. Said I had to hide or the same people would kill me. Ice filled Theron's veins. Cyrus. He knew that name. One of the court's lower administrators, in charge of the border orphanages. But why would he? Your Majesty. Captain Lysander appeared in the doorway, breathing hard. We have a problem. Word has spread about the child. Counselor Darius is demanding an immediate assembly. He says you violated pack law by blood bonding with an unverified orphan. Darius, Theron said slowly. Of course. Marcus's death had cleared the way for Darius's son to become heir apparent, since Theron had no children of his own. If Kaya's existence became known. Sire? Lysander looked confused. Double the guard on this room, Theron ordered. No one enters without my explicit permission. Your Majesty, Counselor Darius insists. I don't care what he insists. Power rolled through his voice. This child is under my protection. Lysander bowed and left. Theron turned back to find Kaya trying to sit up, her young face determined despite her weakness. I should go, she said. I'm causing trouble. I always cause trouble. No. Theron sat beside her on the bed. You're exactly where you need to be. But that man, Darius, is the one who should be afraid? He studied her face, seeing Marcus so clearly now. Kaya, what else do you remember about your mother? She was beautiful, Kaya said softly. She smelled like moonflowers, and she could do things, special things? What kind of things? She could make plants grow, make wounds heal. Kaya's eyes dropped. I can too sometimes. That's why the masters gave me the medicine, to make it stop. A healer Omega. Marcus had bonded with a healer Omega, one of the rarest gifts, and Kaya had inherited it, along with her father's alpha blood. She wasn't just powerful, she was unprecedented. Show me, Theron said gently. Kaya hesitated, then reached for a wilted flower in the bedside vase. At her touch, it bloomed vibrantly, more beautiful than before. But the effort cost her. She swayed, exhausted. They said it was evil, she whispered. Said I was an abomination. They lied. Theron pulled her against his side, and she curled into him instinctively, recognizing Pack. You're a miracle. A knock at the door interrupted them. Amara entered, her face grim. Your Majesty, I've been checking the records. Cyrus has been receiving large payments from an unnamed source for 9 years, since just after Prince Marcus's death. And Darius? His financial records show matching withdrawals. The pieces clicked together with horrible clarity. Darius hadn't just benefited from Marcus's death, he'd arranged it. And he'd been hiding Kaya, suppressing her nature, probably planning to eliminate her once his own son was secure as heir. He's coming, Kaya said suddenly, her remarkable eyes going wide with fear. I can smell him. He smells like death and lies. Sure enough, footsteps echoed in the hall, many footsteps. Darius had brought enforcers. Your Majesty, Darius's voice carried through the door, falsely sympathetic. I understand you've been deceived by a clever orphan. Open the door and we'll handle this quietly. Theron stood, putting himself between Kaya and the door. His alpha rose, ready for battle. The only deception here is yours, Darius, he called back. Silence. Then, I don't know what you mean. No. Then you won't mind explaining your payments to Cyrus, or what you know about Marcus's death. The footsteps retreated rapidly, but Theron knew this was far from over. Darius would return with more support, more lies, more schemes. What happens now? Kaya asked in a small voice. Theron looked down at his brother's daughter. His daughter now, by pack bond, if not by blood. Now we prepare for war. Because Darius had made a fatal error, he'd threatened a pup under Alpha King protection, and Theron would burn the world before he let anyone harm her again. Dawn came too quickly. Theron hadn't slept, standing guard while Kaya fitfully dozed. The pack bond he'd formed with her hummed beneath his skin, letting him feel her dreams, fragments of terror, loneliness, and desperate hunger that made his alpha rage. Your Majesty, Lysander entered quietly. The full council has assembled. Darius has filed formal charges. What charges? Theron kept his voice low to avoid waking Kaya. Violation of succession law. He claims you've illegally adopted an heir to subvert his son's rightful place. His son has no rightful place. Kaya is Marcus's daughter. Can you prove it? Lysander asked carefully. Beyond the resemblance? That was the problem. DNA testing existed but took weeks. The council wouldn't wait that long. There might be another way, Amara said from the doorway. She carried an ancient tome. The blood rite ritual. It's old magic, from before the scientific age. If she truly carries Valdris blood, the family artifacts will recognize her. The crown of storms, Theron breathed. The alpha crown that had been in his family for 20 generations. It would only respond to true Valdris blood. It could kill her if she's not, Amara warned. The crown's power is intense. A small hand tugged his sleeve. Kaya was awake, her distinctive gaze steady. I'll do it. You don't have to. Yes, I do. She sat up, still weak but determined. My mother told me stories about my father. About his family's silver wolf banner, about the crown that sparkled like lightning. She said someday I'd wear it. Her voice dropped. I thought they were just stories to make me feel special. Theron's throat tightened. You are special. Then let me prove it. Before he could respond, the door burst open. Darius stood there with a dozen enforcers, his son Victor smirking behind him. By order of the council, the pretender child will be removed for examination, Darius announced. Over my dead body, Theron snarled, stepping in front of Kaya. That can be arranged, Victor said, hand moving to his sword. Enough, a new voice commanded. Elder Celine, the oldest and most respected council member, entered. This will be settled properly. The child has requested blood right. It will be witnessed. Darius paled. That's barbaric. That's law. Celine cut him off. Unless you have something to fear from the truth? But then another figure stepped through the doorway, a woman in healer's robes who had been standing behind Selene. She removed her hood, revealing violet eyes lined with age but unmistakably familiar. Aunt Thessaly, Theron gasped. But you've been in exile for 9 years, Thessaly confirmed. Since I helped my son Marcus secretly mate with an Omega healer. Since I hid their daughter to protect her from those who killed him. I've been watching from afar, waiting for the right moment. The room erupted in shocked whispers. Darius stepped back, his face white. You knew? Theron stared at his aunt, whom he'd thought dead. I've been watching over her from the shadows. But when I learned she'd been found, poisoned, Thessaly's eyes burned as she looked at Darius. I knew it was time to stop hiding. The throne room had never felt larger as they entered. The entire court had gathered, whispers rippling like waves. At the far end, on a pedestal of black stone, sat the crown of storms, silver and crystal, crackling with barely contained power. Kaya walked beside Theron, her small hand in his. Through their bond, he felt her terror, but also her fierce determination. If she's false, the crown will know, Darius announced to the crowd. When she dies from its rejection, you'll all see. Silence, Theron commanded. But privately, fear gnawed at him. What if the wolfsbane had corrupted her blood signature? What if the crown didn't recognize her? They reached the pedestal. Kaya had to stand on a step to reach it. Her hands trembled as she extended them toward the ancient artifact. "Wait," Thessaly called out. "Before she touches it, let all know this. I witnessed Marcus and Elena's mating myself. I delivered their daughter, and I can name every birthmark on her body, including the crescent moon on her left shoulder blade." All eyes turned to Kaya. Slowly, she pushed down part of her tattered shirt. There, exactly as described, was a small crescent birthmark. "Coincidence," Victor said desperately. "Then the crown will prove it," Kaya said, her child's voice carrying surprising authority. Before anyone could stop her, she reached out and grasped the crown of storms. Lightning exploded through the room, but instead of destroying her, it danced around Kaya like a celebrating friend. The crown's silver turned molten bright, and when the light faded, it had resized itself to fit her small head perfectly. But something else was happening. The power of the crown was triggering something in Kaya. Her eyes blazed gold, then violet, then silver, like mercury. Her small body began to shimmer. "The transformation," Amara breathed. "She's too young." Kaya screamed as her first shift tried to take her. At 9 years old, it should have been impossible. But the crown's power, combined with her hybrid nature and the trauma of the wolfsbane, had triggered it early. "Everyone out," Theron commanded. "Now!" The court fled in panic, but Darius and Victor remained, along with Thessaly and the healers. "If she dies in transformation, I'm still heir," Victor said coldly. Theron moved so fast Victor didn't see it coming. The young man was on the ground, Theron's hand around his throat. "If she dies," Theron said very quietly, "you'll follow her within the hour." "Your Majesty," Darius protested, "you can't threaten—" "I can do whatever I want." Theron's eyes blazed full alpha. "I am the Alpha King. And that child is my blood, my pack, my heir. Challenge me again, and I'll show you why the Valdris line has ruled for 1,000 years." A small wolf pup's cry drew his attention back. Where Kaya had been standing, a tiny silver wolf pup now sat, the crown still somehow perfectly balanced on her small head. She was beautiful, silver fur with violet undertones, and when she opened her eyes, they were the same striking violet gold. But she was also collapsing, the transformation too much for her young body. Theron scooped her up gently, cradling her against his chest. Through their bond, he pushed strength and comfort. "Darius of House Corvain," Elder Selene spoke formally, "you are under arrest for conspiracy, attempted murder, and treason against the crown. Victor as well. You can't— there's no proof." "Actually," Cyrus stepped out from behind a pillar surrounded by royal guards. "There is. I've documented everything. Every payment, every order, every dose of poison given to the princess." He looked at Theron. "Your Majesty, I seek clemency in exchange for my full cooperation." "Why betray Darius now?" Theron asked. Cyrus looked at the small wolf pup in Theron's arms. "Because I was there when Prince Marcus died. I saw Darius's men kill him. I was a coward then, taking his money to stay quiet. But watching that child suffer, knowing what she truly was, I couldn't anymore." "Lies." Darius pulled a blade, lunging not for Theron but for Kaya. Theron moved to shield her, but he needn't have worried. Thessaly gestured, and vines erupted from the stone floor, wrapping around Darius and squeezing until he dropped the weapon. "Did you forget?" Thessaly asked mildly. "Our family has always carried magic. Marcus had it. I have it." She looked at the pup in Theron's arms, "and Kaya has it strongest of all." As if in response, the pup's fur began to glow with soft silver light. Healing light. She was unconsciously healing herself. Take them away, Theron ordered. The guards dragged Darius and Victor out, both screaming threats and denials. The little pup whimpered, trying to shift back but unable to control it. It's okay, Theron murmured, sitting on the throne with her in his lap. I've got you, little star. You're safe now. But even as he comforted her, he knew their troubles were far from over. Darius had allies, and now that Kaya had been revealed as the true heir, she'd have a target on her back. The crown pulsed on her small head, as if in agreement. War was coming. But looking down at his brother's daughter, his daughter now, Theron knew he'd face any threat to keep her safe. The Alpha King had found his heir, and heaven help anyone who tried to harm her. 3 weeks had passed since the crown accepted Kaya, and the little wolf pup had finally managed to shift back to her human form. But the transformation had changed her. The wolfsbane was completely purged from her system, and with it gone, her true nature emerged with startling intensity. Again! Kaya laughed, golden violet eyes sparkling as she made the training room's practice flowers bloom into full trees within seconds. Easy, young one, Theron cautioned, though he couldn't help but smile. Master Erasmus says you need to pace yourself. Erasmus, the palace's ancient mage, nodded from his corner. Raw power without control is dangerous, princess, especially yours. Princess. The title still made Kaya scrunch her nose. She'd gone from starving orphan to crown princess in weeks, and the adjustment hadn't been smooth. Just yesterday, she'd tried to sneak bread rolls into her pockets at dinner, forgetting that food would always be available now. Your Majesty, Lysander appeared at the door, his face grim. We have visitors. Who? Lord Raven Blackmore, from the Northern Wastes. Theron's blood chilled. The Northern Wastes were where the most ancient alpha bloodlines lived, the ones who claimed descent from the first wolves. Raven Blackmore was their unofficial leader, and he never left his territory unless something significant was happening. What does he want? He says he's come to verify the miracle child. Lysander's jaw tightened. The one who shifted at 9 years old and survived. Of course. News of Kaya's transformation had spread beyond Thesara's borders. Theron had been expecting challenges to her legitimacy, but not from the Northern Lords. Where is he? The throne room, with his entire pack. Theron stood abruptly. How many? 50 warriors, all fully shifted. It was a show of force. Raven was making a statement. I'm coming with you, Kaya said, standing. Absolutely not. I'm the crown princess. She lifted her chin in that way that reminded him painfully of Marcus. If they're here about me, I should be there. Before Theron could argue further, Thessaly entered. In the weeks since her return, she'd become Kaya's primary guardian and teacher. She's right, nephew. Hiding her will only fuel rumors that she's weak. She's a child. She's also the most powerful hybrid ever born, Thessaly replied calmly. And Raven knows it. That's why he's here. They entered the throne room to find it transformed into a sea of massive wolves. At their center stood a man who seemed carved from shadow, black hair, black eyes, black armor. Lord Raven Blackmore. King Theron. Raven's voice was deep as a mountain echo. I've come to see the impossible child. Princess Kaya is not a spectacle for your entertainment, Theron said coldly. No? Raven smiled, showing teeth too sharp to be fully human. A child who survived alpha-omega hybridization, who transformed before her 10th year, who wears the crown of storms. She's either the miracle your people claim, or the harbinger of our end. Harbinger? Kaya stepped out from behind Theron before he could stop her. What does that mean? Raven's black eyes fixed on her with unsettling intensity. There's a prophecy, Young one, about a child of two natures who would either unite the fractured packs or destroy them all. A child marked by storms and stars. As if responding to his words, the crown of storms materialized on Kaya's head, something it had taken to doing when she felt threatened. Lightning crackled around its edges. Interesting, Raven murmured. He began walking closer, his pack shifting restlessly. May I? Stay back, Theron warned. But Raven had already extended his hand toward Kaya. The moment his fingers approached her, silver fire erupted from her skin. Raven jerked back, his hand burned. She attacked Lord Blackmore. One of his warriors snarled. I didn't mean to. Kaya's eyes went wide with fear. It just happened. Peace, Raven said, examining his burned hand with fascination rather than anger. She didn't attack. She defended. Her power recognizes threats instinctively. He looked at Theron. You have no idea what you have here, do you? She's my niece. My heir. That's all that matters. Your niece is a living weapon, Raven said bluntly. That fire? That's not normal magic. That's divine fire. The kind that hasn't been seen since the first wolves walked the earth. Someone with that power could reshape our entire world. Or destroy it, Thessaly asked pointedly. Raven nodded. Which is why I need to test her. Absolutely not, Theron growled. It's not a request. Raven's warriors all stood simultaneously, a coordinated threat. The northern packs demand verification. If she's the prophecy child, we need to know whether she'll be our salvation or our doom. And if you decide she's a threat? Theron's hand went to his sword. Then we'll do what we must to protect our kind. The threat hung heavy in the air, 50 warriors against the palace guard. It would be a massacre. I'll do it. Everyone turned to stare at Kaya. She stood straight despite her fear, the crown pulsing on her head. I'll take your test, she continued, but only if you promise something. Raven raised an eyebrow. You're hardly in a position to negotiate, child. Aren't I? Kaya held out her hand, and silver fire danced across her palm. You're afraid of me. That's why you brought so many warriors. You're afraid of what a 9-year-old girl might do. Several wolves growled, but Raven laughed, a sound like winter wind. You have courage, little princess. Very well. What do you want? If I pass your test, the northern packs recognize me as legitimate heir. No more challenges, no more threats. And if you fail? Kaya's voice remained steady. Then I'll renounce my claim to the throne. Kaya, no! Theron protested. She looked at him with eyes too old for her years. Trust me. Raven circled her slowly. The test is simple. Among our kind, power recognizes power. Alpha calls to alpha. He shifted suddenly, becoming an enormous black wolf. Show me your wolf child. Let's see if you're strong enough to bear the crown you wear. Kaya closed her eyes, and Theron felt her fear through their bond. She'd only shifted once, during the claiming ceremony, and it had nearly killed her. You don't have to do this, he said urgently. Yes, I do. She opened her eyes and they blazed with determination. Because if I don't, we'll always be looking over our shoulders. The transformation started differently this time. Instead of painful, violent change, silver light engulfed Kaya like a cocoon. When it faded, a wolf stood there. But not just any wolf. She was magnificent. Silver-white fur that seemed to hold starlight, with violet markings that looked like celestial patterns. And she was already larger than a normal wolf pup should be, showing her alpha heritage. But it was what happened next that stunned everyone. Every wolf in the room, all 50 of Raven's warriors, dropped to their bellies in submission. Even Raven himself lowered his massive head. Because Kaya wasn't just radiating alpha power. She was radiating something ancient, primal, that spoke to the wolf in all of them. She was the prophecy made flesh, the bridge between worlds, the child of storm and star. When she shifted back, Kaya stumbled, and Theron caught her. "Did I pass?" she asked weakly. Raven, human again, knelt formally. "You are what we hoped and feared, little princess. The northern packs recognize your legitimacy." His black eyes met Theron's. "Guard her well, King Theron. There are others who won't be as easily convinced, others who will see her power and want it for themselves." "Who?" "The Shadow Brotherhood. They've been searching for the prophecy child for decades. Now that she's revealed herself..." He stood. "They'll come for her." "Who are the Shadow Brotherhood?" But Raven was already leaving, his pack flowing out behind him. At the door, he paused. "Ask your aunt about them. Ask her why she really hid all those years." His smile was sharp. "Ask her about the marks on Kaya's mother's body when she died." Then they were gone, leaving Theron with a trembling Kaya and far too many questions. "Aunt Thessaly," he said slowly, "what haven't you told me?" Thessaly's face had gone pale. "We should discuss this privately." "No more secrets!" Theron's voice shook the throne room. "Who are the Shadow Brotherhood? What did they do to Elena?" Thessaly closed her eyes. "They're the ones who discovered what Kaya would become. They're the ones who wanted to use her power. And they're the ones..." She opened her eyes, tears streaming. "They're the ones who killed both Marcus and Elena when they refused to give her up." Kaya made a small broken sound. Theron pulled her closer, rage building in his chest. "You knew who killed my brother, and you said nothing?" "Because they're everywhere," Thessaly exploded. "In every court, every pack, watching and waiting. I hid Kaya to protect her from them. But now that she's revealed her true power..." "They'll come," Theron finished grimly. As if in response to his words, a servant burst in. "Your Majesty, the outer walls, they're under attack. Hundreds of figures in shadow cloaks." The Shadow Brotherhood had already come. The attack came from all sides. Shadow-cloaked figures scaled the palace walls with inhuman speed, their movements too fluid to be entirely natural. Theron watched from the tower as his guards were overwhelmed, not killed, but paralyzed by some kind of dark magic that left them frozen mid-scream. "They're not trying to breach," Lysander observed. "They're surrounding us." He was right. The Shadow Brotherhood had formed a perfect circle around the palace, trapping everyone inside. "Your Majesty," a servant stumbled in, terror etched on his face. "There's a messenger at the main gate. He says he'll only speak to you and the princess." Theron's jaw clenched. "Kaya stays here." "No," Kaya said quietly. She'd been silent since learning about her parents' murders, but now her unusual gaze blazed with determination. "They killed my mother and father. I want to face them." "You're 9 years old." "I'm the prophecy child, aren't I?" She stood, the crown materializing on her head. "That means something, even if I don't understand what yet." They descended to the main gate together, Thessaly and Lysander flanking them. The messenger waited beyond the portcullis, a figure whose face was hidden beneath a deep hood. "King Theron." The voice was neither male nor female, but something in between. "We've come for the child. She's under my protection." "Your protection is meaningless." The figure raised its head, revealing eyes that were completely black. No whites, no iris, just endless dark. "She bears power that belongs to us. Power we've been nurturing for generations." "Nurturing?" Thessaly spat. "You mean murdering innocents?" "Necessary sacrifices. Every Valdris heir for 300 years has carried a fragment of the original blessing. We simply encouraged the fragments to combine." The creature's lipless mouth smiled. "Marcus and Elena's union was no accident. We orchestrated it, knowing their child would be the vessel we needed. Theron felt sick. You're saying you bred my family like animals? We guided destiny. And now, destiny has delivered us the perfect weapon. A child powerful enough to break the barriers between worlds, to bring back the first wolves, to remake reality itself. You're insane, Theron said flatly. Are we? The messenger gestured, and shadows began writhing around the palace walls. Your guards are frozen. Your mages are powerless against our darkness. You have 1 hour to surrender the child, or we'll take her anyway, along with the lives of everyone in this palace. You won't touch her, won't we? The creature laughed, a sound like breaking glass. Little princess, do you feel it yet? The call in your blood? You're part of us, whether you know it or not. Your power comes from the shadow as much as the storm. Kaya stepped forward before anyone could stop her. You're wrong. Am I? Then why do you dream of darkness? Why do you wake up with shadows dancing at your fingertips? Theron looked at Kaya in alarm. She hadn't mentioned any dreams. I do dream of shadows, Kaya admitted, but I also dream of stars, of light so bright it burns away the dark. You think you made me, but you only made me possible. Her small hand rose, silver fire crackling between her fingers. And I choose the light. The messenger hissed, Foolish child, you cannot fight your nature. Watch me. What happened next defied explanation. Kaya's power exploded outward, not just the silver fire they'd seen before, but something more. Light and shadow twisted together, storm and star combining into something entirely new. The frozen guards suddenly gasped back to life. The shadow barriers shattered like glass. And across the palace grounds, every member of the Shadow Brotherhood screamed in unison. Impossible. The messenger staggered back. You shouldn't be able to— I'm the prophecy child, Kaya said, her voice carrying despite its softness. The bridge between worlds. You wanted a weapon? You got one. But not for you. The messenger fled, shadows swallowing it whole. Around the palace the Brotherhood retreated, melting away into the night. But Kaya collapsed, her small body convulsing. Theron caught her, horrified to find her burning with fever. The shadow poison, Thessaly said urgently. They put it in the air. She breathed it in when she attacked them. Get her inside. They carried her to the healing chambers, where Master Erasmus was already preparing remedies. But when he examined her, his face went grave. This is beyond my skill. The poison is attacking her hybrid nature, trying to tear the wolf and human apart. There must be something— There is, Thessaly interrupted. The moon pool. It's hidden in the ancient temple, 3 days' hard ride from here. The waters there can purify any poison, but— She hesitated. The temple is in Brotherhood territory. It would be suicide. Then I go alone, Theron said immediately. You can't. The pool only works if the person who drinks from it is brought by one who shares their blood, and one who shares their bond. Thessaly met his eyes. You'll need me. I share her blood through Marcus, and the bond between you two is pack-forged. It's a trap, Lysander protested. They're forcing us to come to them. I know. Theron looked down at Kaya, who was murmuring in her delirium, silver tears leaking from her eyes. But what choice do we have? They left at dawn, traveling in wolf form for speed. Theron carried Kaya carefully in a special harness, her small body burning against his fur. Through their bond, he felt her fighting, not just the poison, but something else. The shadows were calling to her, trying to seduce her to their side. Stay with me, young one, he whispered through the bond. Don't let them win. On the second day, they were ambushed. Shadow Brotherhood warriors emerged from the ground itself, wielding weapons of crystallized darkness. You came, as expected. their leader said. Now watch as we take what's ours. The battle was vicious. Thessaly's magic clashed with their shadows, creating explosions of light and dark. Theron fought with savage fury, his alpha power devastating any who came near Kaya. But there were too many. Just as they were about to be overwhelmed, Kaya's eyes snapped open. They were neither violet nor gold, but pure white, empty and endless. No, she said, and reality seemed to ripple. I am not yours. I am not anyone's. I am the choice between light and dark, and I choose neither. Power erupted from her, not silver fire or shadow, but something that was both and neither. The Brotherhood warriors didn't just retreat, they ceased to exist, unraveled at a fundamental level. When it was over, Kaya collapsed again, but she was smiling. I understand now, she whispered. The prophecy. I'm not meant to choose a side. I'm meant to end the war between them. They reached the temple just as the sun set on the third day. It was ancient beyond measure, carved from stone that seemed to drink in moonlight. At its heart lay the moon pool, its waters glowing with soft luminescence. But standing beside it was someone Theron never expected to see. Hello, brother, Marcus said, very much alive. I've been waiting for you. Theron's world tilted. You're dead. I saw your body. You saw what they wanted you to see. Marcus stepped forward, and Theron could smell him. Pack. Family. Real. The Brotherhood faked my death when I refused to give them Kaya. I've been hiding here, guardian of the pool, waiting for the day she would need it. Papa? Kaya's weak voice broke everyone's hearts. Marcus's composure shattered. He ran to them, tears streaming. My precious girl. My brave, beautiful daughter. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Elena? Theron asked, though he dreaded the answer. Marcus's face darkened. They killed her when she wouldn't reveal where I'd hidden Kaya. She died protecting our daughter. Kaya reached out weakly, touching her father's face. Mama saved me? She saved us all, precious one. And now, we're going to save you. Together, the three of them, father, uncle, and great-aunt, carried Kaya to the moon pool. As they lowered her into the glowing waters, Theron felt the poison leaving her body, saw the shadow and light within her finding balance. When she emerged, she was changed. Her eyes held depths that hadn't been there before, ancient wisdom in a child's face. The Brotherhood will come back, she said quietly. But I'm ready now. I know what I am. What are you? Marcus asked. Kaya smiled, and in that smile was both terrible power and infinite compassion. I'm the ending and the beginning. The last of the old world and the first of the new. The crown materialized on her head, but it had changed too. No longer just silver and storm, it now held threads of shadow and stars, perfectly balanced. They wanted a weapon, she said. They got a judge. In the distance, thunder rumbled despite the clear sky. Change was coming to the world of wolves and men, and a 9-year-old girl would be the one to bring it. The journey back to the palace should have been triumphant. Marcus was alive, Kaya was healed, and the Shadow Brotherhood had been dealt a devastating blow, but Theron could feel the weight of unspoken truths hanging between them like a funeral shroud. They made camp on the second night, and while Kaya slept, curled between her father and uncle in wolf form, Thessaly kept watch. The question that had been burning in Theron's chest finally escaped. How long? He asked Marcus quietly. How long have you been alive while I mourned you? Marcus's eyes reflected the moonlight. 9 years and 2 months. You counted. Every single day. Marcus's voice broke. Do you think it was easy? Watching from afar as you suffered? Knowing Kaya was out there, poisoned and alone? Then why? Theron's control snapped. Why didn't you come back? Because they would have killed her. Marcus shifted to human form, tears streaming down his face. The Brotherhood had spies everywhere. The moment I surfaced, they would have known. The only way to keep Kaya safe was to be dead. And Elena? Marcus's face crumpled. She's really gone. They tortured her for 3 days trying to find Kaya. She never broke. Never told them anything. He looked at his sleeping daughter. She died screaming my name, and I couldn't come. I couldn't save her. The brothers sat in silence, years of pain hanging between them. Finally, Theron spoke. She knows about you now. The Brotherhood knows you're alive. I know. Marcus's jaw tightened. Which means we're out of time. They'll move against us with everything they have. Let them come, Theron growled. Kaya's stronger now. She's also 9 years old, Marcus reminded him sharply. Power or not, she's still a child. My child. And I won't let them turn her into a weapon. Neither will I. Won't you? Marcus's eyes narrowed. You've already blood bonded with her. Made her your heir. Put a crown on her head that she can't remove. You've marked her as surely as the Brotherhood did. Rage flared in Theron's chest. I saved her. You claimed her. There's a difference. Stop. Both men turned. Kaya stood there, her remarkable eyes glowing in the darkness. Please stop fighting about me like I'm not here. You should be sleeping, precious one, Marcus said gently. I can't. The shadows talk louder at night. She moved between them, sitting cross-legged on the ground. Uncle Theron, you did save me. Papa, you did protect me. You both love me. So why are you angry? The simple wisdom of her words shamed them both. We're not angry at each other, Theron explained. We're angry at the situation. At the Brotherhood? At everything, Marcus admitted. At a world where a 9-year-old has to bear the weight of prophecy. Kaya was quiet for a moment. Then, the pool showed me things. When I was in the water. Both men tensed. What things? Thessaly asked, joining them. The past. The future. The truth. She looked at each of them in turn. The Brotherhood didn't create the prophecy. They just tried to control it. The real prophecy is older. From the time of the first wolves. That's just legend, Marcus said. No, it's history. Kaya held out her hand and an image formed in the air, a projection of pure light. It showed massive wolves, larger than houses, walking beside primitive humans. The first wolves weren't just animals. They were guardians, bridges between the physical and spiritual worlds. But something happened. A betrayal. The worlds were separated, and the first wolves were lost. The image shifted, showing generation after generation passing, wolves becoming smaller, more human. We're their descendants, Kaya continued, diluted, diminished, but still carrying the potential to bridge the worlds again. That's what the prophecy really means. Not a weapon, not a judge, a bridge. To bring back the first wolves? Theron asked. To heal the separation, to make the worlds whole again. She looked at them with 2 old eyes. But the Brotherhood doesn't want healing. They want domination. They think if they control the bridge, they can control both worlds. And can they? Thessaly asked carefully. Not anymore. Kaya smiled, and it was both sad and fierce. Because I'm not just the bridge, I'm the lock, and I choose who passes through. Before anyone could respond, howls erupted from all directions. Not normal howls. These carried dark magic, making the very air shiver. They found us, Marcus snarled, shifting to wolf form instantly. The Brotherhood came from everywhere, shadow-wreathed figures wielding weapons of crystallized darkness. But these weren't the lesser warriors from before. These were elites, each one radiating power that made the ground crack beneath their feet. "Give us the child," their leader demanded, his voice echoing with otherworldly authority, "or we'll take her from your corpses." "Try," Theron challenged, shifting to his massive alpha form. The battle was instant and brutal. Marcus and Theron fought with savage coordination, brothers united against a common enemy. Thessaly's magic blazed, holding back waves of shadow-spawned horrors. But the Brotherhood had come prepared. They began chanting in a language that predated human speech, and the very fabric of reality started to tear. Through the rifts came things that shouldn't exist. Creatures of pure shadow with too many eyes and teeth. "Kaya, run!" Marcus roared. But Kaya didn't run. She stood perfectly still, her eyes closed, the crown on her head beginning to pulse with strange light. "What are you doing?" Theron demanded, fighting his way toward her. "What I was born to do," she replied calmly. Then louder, addressing the Brotherhood. "You want to open the bridge between worlds? Fine, let me help you." "Kaya, no!" Marcus howled, but she was already moving, walking straight toward the largest rift. The Brotherhood warriors stepped aside, sensing victory. "Yes," their leader hissed, "open it fully. Bring forth the first darkness. Let it consume this failed world." Kaya reached the rift and placed her small hands on its edges. Power exploded outward. Not the silver fire or balanced energy from before, but something raw and primal that made everyone, brotherhood and family alike, fall to their knees. "You made one mistake," Kaya said, her child's voice carrying impossible authority. "You assumed the first wolves were gone, that the bridge was empty." She smiled, and it was terrible. "They've been waiting, watching through their descendants, through me." The rift suddenly blazed with silver light, and through it came a wolf so massive it defied comprehension. Its fur was made of starlight, its eyes were golden suns, and when it spoke, reality itself listened. "Who dares wake the Guardian?" The Brotherhood leader tried to speak, but no sound came. He was too busy screaming as his shadow-corrupted form began to burn away in the presence of pure, ancient light. The first wolf turned its cosmic gaze to Kaya. "Little bridge, you called, and we answer. But the price must be paid." "I know," Kaya said sadly. "I saw it in the pool." "What price?" Theron struggled to his feet. "What did you see?" Kaya turned to him, tears streaming down her young face. "To heal the worlds, to stop the Brotherhood forever, someone has to stay on the other side, to hold the bridge closed from within." Understanding dawned horribly. "No, no, you're not." "I have to," Kaya said simply. "It's the only way." "There has to be another way," Marcus roared, fighting against the power that held him down. "There is," the first wolf rumbled, "but it requires a willing exchange. A life for a life, a guardian for a guardian." "Then take me," Theron said immediately. "And me," Marcus added without hesitation. "And me," Thessaly said firmly. Kaya looked at them all, her family, willing to sacrifice everything for her. And in that moment, something changed. The crown on her head blazed brighter than the sun. "No," she said, and her voice carried the authority of both worlds. "There's another way. The Brotherhood wanted to control the bridge, but what if we destroy it instead?" The first wolf's eyes widened. "Destroy the bridge between worlds?" "Not destroy. Transform." Kaya spread her arms wide. "Make every wolf-born a bridge. Give us all the choice to touch both worlds, but none the power to control them." "That would dilute the power infinitely," the first wolf mused. "No one could use it as a weapon." "Exactly. It would also mean you could never become what you were meant to be." Never reach your full potential. Kaya smiled. I'm 9. I just want to grow up with my family. The first wolf was silent for a long moment. Then it laughed, a sound like distant thunder. Wisdom beyond years. Very well, little bridge. But the choice must be unanimous. All here must agree, brotherhood included. They'll never... Theron started. We agree, the surviving brotherhood members said in unison, their leader's death having freed them from their oath. We've seen what our path leads to. We choose her way. The first wolf nodded. Then let it be done. Power exploded outward from Kaya, not violent but gentle, spreading across the world like dawn breaking. Every wolf-born felt it, a subtle shift, a new awareness, a choice they didn't have before. When the light faded, the first wolf was gone, the rifts were sealed, and Kaya stood there, still 9 years old, still powerful, but no longer bearing the impossible weight of prophecy alone. She swayed, exhausted, and both Theron and Marcus caught her. Is it over? She asked sleepily. The prophecy is, Theron said softly. But your life? That's just beginning. As dawn broke over the mountains, they headed home, not as weapon and guardians, but as what they'd always truly been beneath the destiny and bloodlines and ancient magics. A family. 6 months later, the throne room of Thesara had been transformed for the grandest celebration in living memory. Not a coronation. Kaya had insisted she was too young for that, but an adoption ceremony, a claiming, not of power, but of love. Kaya stood between Theron and Marcus, wearing a simple silver dress instead of royal robes. The crown of storms sat on a cushion nearby, waiting until she was old enough to bear it by choice, not necessity. You sure about this? Marcus whispered to his brother. Joint custody of the most powerful child ever born? She's not that anymore, Theron reminded him. She's just Kaya. I can hear you both, Kaya said, rolling her eyes in a perfectly normal 9-year-old way that made them both grin. The Great Hall was packed. Lord Raven had come from the northern wastes, bringing gifts and an official treaty. The surviving Brotherhood members stood in white robes, having reformed as the Order of Balance. Even Cyrus was there, having earned clemency through his testimony and now serving his community service by teaching young orphans to read and write. Elder Selene stepped forward. We gather today to witness something unprecedented, a child with 2 fathers, both of whom claim her not by blood alone, but by choice. Actually, Thessaly interjected from her seat of honor, make that 2 fathers and 1 great-aunt who insists on spoiling her rotten. Laughter rippled through the hall. Even Kaya giggled. The laws of succession? Selene began formally. Can wait, Theron interrupted. She's 9. Let her be 9. Here, here, someone called out, and suddenly the formal ceremony dissolved into celebration. Later, as the party continued around them, Kaya sat on the throne. Not officially, just a child playing while adults talked. The crown had floated over to her, hovering like a protective friend. You did it, you know, Lysander said, approaching with a goblet of water for her. United the Pax, ended an ancient war, saved the world. I had help, Kaya said simply. That's what family does, right? Help each other? Yes, Marcus said, lifting her off the throne and into his arms. That's exactly what family does. Papa? Kaya yawned. Can you tell me about Mama again? Of course, precious one. Marcus's voice grew soft. She had eyes like moonlight and a smile that could light up the darkest room. She loved to sing, especially to you. Even before you were born, she would sing lullabies to her belly. What did she sing? Marcus hummed a melody, hauntingly beautiful. Kaya's eyes drooped, exhaustion finally claiming her. She would be so proud, Theron said quietly. She is, Thessaly corrected. Wherever she is, she is. As Kaya slept in her father's arms, surrounded by two fathers who would die for her, a great aunt who would teach her magic, and a kingdom that had learned to see strength in unity rather than division, the prophecy's true meaning finally became clear. It had never been about a weapon or a judge or even a bridge. It had been about choice. The choice to love instead of fear, to unite instead of divide, to protect instead of control. And a 9-year-old girl had chosen love. Outside, the moon rose full and bright. Somewhere in the distance, wolves howled, not in threat or warning, but in celebration. The world had changed, subtly but fundamentally. Every wolfborn now carried a spark of the bridge Kaya had transformed into gift rather than burden. "What happens now?" someone asked. Theron looked down at his sleeping niece, his daughter in every way that mattered. Now? Now we let her grow up. We let her be a child. We love her, protect her. And when she's ready, truly ready, she'll decide what kind of queen she wants to be. And if the Brotherhood remnants return? If new threats emerge? Marcus smiled, the expression sharp with protective promise. Then they'll learn what happens when you threaten someone who has not one, but two alpha fathers. The crown pulsed once, as if in agreement, then settled back to waiting. It could wait years, decades if necessary, because Kaya had given everyone the greatest gift of all: time, time to grow, time to choose, time to be. The prophecy was fulfilled, but the story? The story of a little girl with violet eyes, two fierce fathers, and the power to change the world with love instead of force? That story was just beginning.